Oh shit, it worked. I'm live. Alright. Okay. I thought it was gonna make me go through a prompt, so I wasn't expecting to just be live. But here I am. Hello, VOD viewers. You typically outnumber the stream viewers, and especially on this one that's likely to be true because it's 4 o'clock in the morning as I'm starting the stream. But I'm going to be playing this game, Ender Lilies. I don't know much about it, except that it looks really cool and cute. Just announcing it on Twitter really quick. You all know the drill. You've probably seen one of my live streams before. You know how I tend to start these. Hello, Crazy Girl Rockstar and Aspie Pilled who are here. We've already got 10 viewers. Beautiful. Glad to know that my viewership are still people who are up all night. I'm going to listen to it for a second. See how we sound. I don't hear anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, the desktop audio is way too loud. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's weird. I don't even hear the game on my end. To get my audio adjusted just right. You should be asleep. I should be asleep, probably. 9 in the morning in the UK, just woke up. That's kind of, that's why I do start live streams at 4 in the morning, my time, is that I figure, you know, hey, people in the UK will just be waking up. I'll get them. Then the other people can join in later in the day. Everybody gets their time, you know. Alright, it's getting weird hearing myself on the other end, so I'm going to mute that. Stream status poor. I don't like that. Can't maintain smooth streaming. Well, hopefully that isn't maintained to be true. I clicked off of a Trash Taste Hentai episode. This game better be sublime. It looks pretty cool based on Actually, I don't need this to be so loud on my end either. Okay. From what I gathered, based on this game is on sale today, is why I bought it. But it looks like what I'm going to call a Soulsvania game. Rather than a Metroidvania, it's like Souls-esque combat seemingly combined with... It looks more like, honestly, like a 2D side-scrolling Castlevania game, but it's got some of that Souls-like atmosphere. But I think you play as this cute little white-haired girl, so that's the main selling point to me. If I'm being quite honest. Look at that. Definitely... I mean, it looks like Souls and Castlevania, if you ask me. And the girl looks kind of like Aura from Dot Hack Sign. You seem to be awake. Yeah, I'm sitting up. And none the worse for wear. Yeah, I do seem to be surrounded by, like, bombed out shit everywhere, so... It's a little suspicious. Oh! That thing turned into a guy. Did I frighten you? You can thank the priestess for my incorporeal form, if you will. Do you remember what fate befell this land? I don't remember shit. I don't know shit. So you've lost your memories as well. Let us be rid of this place for now. It may be best for you to see the state of things outside for yourself. Alright, let's check it out. Are you gonna follow me around as like a cool little spirit? Oh my gosh, the walk cycle is adorable. I can jump. Oh shit, I got fucking... Oh, he's doing it. Oh, neat. Alright, so... I'm guessing this is probably most inspired by Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, where you would, like... You would use different, like... you could fight for yourself, but you could also, like, summon dudes that would fight like this for you. And that's what this reminds me of. I just... What does that... Okay, I was pressing the wrong L, but that was a weird thing that was happening there. Never caught a stream, but you've been watching since 2015. Dang, I know I don't stream that often. It must, and I also never announce it, so I guess it is pretty difficult to catch one. But I'm glad you can make it, Shadow Man. Alright, let's see what's on the statue inscription. Stone statues in the likeness of the white priestesses. The inscription below the intact statue reads Priestess of the Dawn, while the ruined statue seems to have been one of the Princess of the Wind. Oh no, they ruined Nazca's statue. Locked. Well, fuck you then. Definitely getting that, you know, they are establishing the Metroid level design right from the start with like, yeah, there's a locked door in the first room. I'm sure you'll be back. Oh, neat. You can sort of ledge hop. I don't know if that's just because of that graphical element that looks like it's... No, okay, yeah, you can climb up ledges. That's very fun. Do not be afraid. Wield my power as your own. Yeah, I know. I know what I'm... Oh, dang, that thing fucking splattered. I didn't expect it to just go like that. That's pretty fun. It's a very different feeling from like a Souls game where you got that big, meaty, weighty, like, you know, ugh, I just crushed that guy's fucking bones. This is more like you just dusted it into nothing. Is it worth it? I have no idea. I just started playing. I just bought this game on sale today. So far, it looks and feels pretty fun, though. Don't want to break that thing. Oh, gee. It's so much fun that she just like, hui! Alright, this game's pretty fucking adorable. Apologize if the stream becomes unsmooth. YouTube keeps telling me it's having difficulty maintaining smooth streaming. I swear to God, Spectrum just strangles internet in the nighttime. So, you know, it is what it is. My internet's not the beast. Let's see if there's anything I can do to help the stream. I guess I'd have to go off. I'd have to end it to change any settings, but it is set to normal latency as opposed to ultra low latency, which it probably should be. I hope it's not because I have it set that when I start the stream, it also starts automatically recording. I hope that's not causing it any, the internet. Dear Sigrid, I want you to deliver the amulet unto that white priestess. It's a necklace I bestow upon all priestesses, but I've imbued it with a blessing. I'm certain the world will protect her from the threat of the blighted. Wards can be broken and restored, but that is something only a priestess can manage. I count on you to see this through, yours, Elaine. I don't know what most of that really means, to be honest, but I'm sure I'll find out. Is this, so, like, can I just do that anytime? What is it? Does it use, like, a resource or anything? Does it just heal me? Main menu, okay. All kinds of information it claims. Quests, settings. Oh boy. Yeah, I want to display all the stuff. I want to know what's going on. Sound, graphics, controller, keyboard. Okay, whatever. I don't need none of that. That's not the button that it was trying to tell me to press. Alright. I love the art. The artwork is great. This is definitely like Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Is the impression that I'm getting. Alright. Yes, you can break barrels. That's how you know you've got a real video game. If they don't put breakable bullshit, then it's not a real video game. Amulet fragment, max HP plus 5. Hey. Do I have to like equip that? Relic. It's like a locked section. It doesn't seem to allow me to equip relics yet, I guess. Findings. Okay, that was a finding. I can really just heal myself whenever, it seems like, so... On the Blighted One. As the mind, body, and soul of those afflicted with the blight is consumed, rot spreads throughout. This rot possesses superb regenerative properties, granting undying flesh. The link between mind and body is cut in time, and the host is driven purely by the wrath of the blight. Sounds like hollowing, if you ask me. Respites act as checkpoints. Resting will restore your HP along with spirit and prayer uses. Resting will call forth all defeated blighted to walk the land once more. Yep. So this is like a bonfire, but it's also like the benches from Hollow Knight, which is, you know, itself a 2D Souls-vania game. Never could get into 2D games that much. I love 2D games. I started with 3D because I started on the N64, but I was a big Game Boy Advance fan, and so I got into 2D games because, you know, portable games were 2D when I was growing up. Let's see, fast travel, spirits. All right, no, nothing. Okay, relics. I can't really seem to actually do anything. All right. I can save though. Hey. So this game doesn't auto save. It's an active save game. The music went away. What happened to the music? Is it just restarting? I'm not hearing any sound anymore from the game. So I don't know if I glitched the... Oh, it's back. Hey. On the Blighted 2. There are blighted whose minds do not fade. This is no saving grace, however, as it is said they must endure an eternity of pain and suffering. The miracle of the White Priestess is the only true salvation for those who come to be cursed with the blight. So maybe I'm like rescuing Dark Souls players from the fate of how hard those games are. Although I have no idea how hard this game will be. Hopefully not too hard. So far it's pretty easy though. It's pretty straightforward. But you know, Castlevania games usually start off really easy and then they quickly ramp up. This definitely doesn't seem as difficult as Hollow Knight though, which is good because that game's too hard for me. I'm still not sure if these things have any real purpose. Just fun level architecture, I guess. The music is quite nice. I noticed that the soundtrack is for sale for like $16 on Steam, which is kind of a lot. But I had the main menu on for like hours as I was getting ready to stream, and it was pretty pleasant, you know. I didn't mind having it on for all that time. Lolly Souls, yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like. It's just funny to me because it is such a thing that, like, obviously, you know, From Software would never make a game where you play as a cute little girl. But they also made Deracine, which is like kind of more or less about a cute little gray-haired girl. So I don't think this is outside the spirit of something Hidetaka Miyazaki would want. as an influence on from his own series, you know. Amulet fragment. A. So I hope those are just automatically raising my HP or something. Super Meat Boy is dope. I'm assuming I've been through here since there's no enemies spawned. Oh yeah, there is a mini-map, isn't there? Let's follow that then. I don't think it seems I haven't been this way going by that. Here's some dudes. The Perish Way 1. Carriers of the rot appeared from the land of snow, bringing calamity to land's end. Said to be the ancients' revenge, the rot drove people to madness and transformed them into monstrosities. Carriers of the rot came to be known as the Blighted. It is quite interesting that the character you control is not like technically the character you fight with. It gives it this interesting disconnected feeling. Like moving and combat are two different things that you're doing. Yeah, I guess I just can't interact with relics yet. Why is old school Digibro in your feed? What the fuck? I mean, that must have been a while ago, right? When I relisted everything. You can see the old, you can see the previous live streams from last month to learn about that. Maybe you haven't checked YouTube in a while. The air is thick with the rot of the blight. Take heed. To protect her, I must. Destroy, 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 destroy. See, this is very dot hack to me when they start saying things like that. She does some pretty decent damage. But I also do some pretty decent damage. Well, she's got like a poise meter or something, I'm realizing. Oh, okay, I've got 3 heals. I don't know how I never noticed that. But I feel like I did it more than 3 times at one point. Uh-oh, what's she doing? I don't like this. Oh. Oh, I see how it is. I get it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Gotta remember to dodge roll. Hello, Bloodborne? Okay. That... You know, I probably should have seen that coming, honestly. That all made sense. That follows through with the design philosophy at play here. So, you know. Alright, I'm gonna try a little harder this time, you know. I kind of forgotten about the dodge button, because everything before this point was so easy. I'm noticing that, like, that character looks like it's a 3D model or something. I'm not sure how the animation is done in this game, but I noticed that the eyes kind of flash red when she's doing certain moves. Oh, that move's a bitch. Ah. Damn it. Oh, why didn't she start phase 2? Shit. Okay. Okay, that thing is ugly. Oy. It just kind of sat there for a second. Maybe I had stun locked it. Ah, damn it, I got greedy. Any plans to come out of retirement and make more anime videos? Not at present. You know, if you have anything, if you have any suggestions, let me know. But I don't really have concrete plans for anything like that. Alright. Let's get serious with this boss as I get hit. Thank you, Illusion, for the Substack plug. Haven't published as much there this month as I would have liked. I have a few articles I didn't get around to finishing. But that is my, wow, that did a lot of fucking damage. That is pretty much the most consistent place that I'm capable of, putting up content. Hello, cartoons. What projects have I been working on? Nothing really that I am committed to finishing and therefore willing to talk about, but I have just been working. I've got a fairly normal job, but that involves traveling a lot. So I've spent most of my time on the road lately and doing work. And I've had some ideas for projects, some that I did some work on, but none that, again, nothing I'm committed to finishing. And therefore nothing that I should talk about, because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up that I'm going to, you know, like if I say something like, oh, I wrote an hour worth of a, you know, what should be a 7-hour video. It's like, that doesn't really mean much of anything. Unless I had actually written a 7-hour video, you know. But I plenty of times have concepts of projects that I sort of give a test run, and then if I don't really think it's interesting, then I sort of stop. And it used to be, because of the fact that I had to publish content all the time to make money, that I would sort of just go ahead and publish like a part 1, and then only sort of after publishing it, you know, realize I don't really want to do this whole thing. Like, I don't think it's going to be worth my time or, you know, make me enough money to, you know, sometimes I might work on the project, think, well, this will be interesting if it gets 100,000 views, and then it doesn't, and it's like, well, now I'm not so sure. I did it. I cannot tell you about my normal job. I was supposed to protect you. That thing was supposed to protect me. I adored the priestess of the fount. She was our only hope against the immortal blighted. With unflinching resolve and a smile on her face, she epitomized radiant tenderness. My sister's letter informed me that the priestess was in poor health. That's no good. It seemed the burden of her purification rituals was taking its toll. It always is. I couldn't rejoice at the peace she brought at the cost of her own well-being. Moreover, I couldn't forgive myself for not being able to protect her as a guardian. Am I like in this like thing I just beat's head? No, it was my own sister who was chosen for that role. In my darkest hour, I found solace in Lily, who was much like the priestess herself. Even if I couldn't serve her as a guardian, the least I could do was protect her. But then the rain began to fall. Cries of pain rang out in the distance. The chief guardian called it the rain of death. I gave Lily sanctuary and took my weapon in hand. The rain never let up. Well, that's no good. Guardian Sigrid swings an iron ball to attack surrounding enemies. Sub-skills have a cooldown and limited number of uses, but can be used in conjunction with other skills. Sigrid guarded the sept to protect the... Oh, okay, so I'm gonna... Does this mean I, Alright. I got 2 new abilities. Oh, no, that is the new ability. Okay. So that boss... This soul has been purified, no longer imprisoned by blight. Within that memory just now, the woman called you Lily. Surely that is your name. If you retrace the memories of the blighted in life, you may just remember something yourself. Okay. It's happening. Apparently you're all about to, or some of you will shortly watch an ad. In about 41 seconds, I'm testing this new feature that YouTube has where I can just make you watch ads sometimes. I didn't know it was going to tell me when that was going to happen and allow me to give you warning, but apparently that's coming. So just letting you know. I don't know if that makes you like miss out on 15 seconds of stream. I mean, Twitch ads are like that. I've never seen YouTube stream ads. Anyways, it may prove difficult, but can you carry on? Oh, you bet I can. Now I got fucking double jump. It's pretty cute. Ooh. This place looks dank. Are there projects I want to do but have no idea how to move forward with them? Yeah, a lot. That's always been the case though. I used to make a video. It's always been, it takes so long to come up with something that like I can make it past concept stage with, you know. You may now access purified memories. Refight any previously purified boss whose memories you have viewed. Oh, I don't really want to do that. All right. So Umbral Knight and Guardian Secret. So I do have also another thing. 13 uses with a 4.5 second cooldown. And I can set that in like my other slot, it seems. Okay. I love that she uses an attack from the boss fight. That's really great. Who's saying that? It sounded like Hatsune Miku singing in the soundtrack just now for a second there. Chaos had taken the villagers long before even my arrival. But did the rain end them, or the blighted? My bond with the priestesses is a perennial one. I may not be able to lead the charge in this form, but my blade is yours. Don't look so surprised. You think me the sort of wretch to leave a child out in this horrid rain? Let us trudge on. Oh, what the hell is this thing? Have you met before? I certainly haven't. It seems their cognizance faded before succumbing to madness. They don't appear to be a threat, but best keep your distance. I mean, I'm walking right up to it, so... Groa's letter. Dear Bale, thank you for your continued service in ferrying the White Priestess and her guardians. My son hopes to one day be as fine a coachman as you, to ride as gallantly on as fine a horse. Please do call on us when you visit the parish. Blessed be the tranquil white light. Groa, Chief Guardian. They're trying to say this used to be a gallant-ass horse that did cool-ass shit, and now it's just a rundown old piece of shit motherfucker? Well, that's unfortunate. It's really fun to splat those things right as they're jumping at your face. The music has gone away again. Not sure why. Oh no, I'm getting railed. Oh no. I wish I knew how to make the music come back. Last time it was like I picked up an item or something and then the text screen made the music come back to life. Ah, there we go. It's just back now. So it seems like the music changed. Maybe that's what the problem was. It crashed when the music shifted. I shouldn't say it crashed. The music crashed. Oh. Red and white flowers. Lily may find flowers blooming with mystical power that will help her on her journey when destroyed. Red flowers. Blight-wreathed red flowers will restore spirit uses. Oh, that's nice. White flowers. The blessings of magic-infused white flowers will restore prayer uses. Also nice. Hey, I can pray more. Call to prayer. Oh, Jesus, that guy really fucked me up. I can't tell if I'm going back the way I came or not. I definitely am. I guess if you had an overwhelming fear of criticism, you would just push on through and post what you wanted. Usually I'm not worried about other people's criticism as much as just like the project has to work, you know? Like it's not that like it's bad or like you know, it just has to maintain interest. Haven't used Siegfried yet, that's true. Oh no, that one's looking for its mom. I guess it hasn't complete. I didn't realize these were like the rot people, were like these slug things. What's going on with you? Oh, you're turning evil right the very now, aren't you? Alright, you're gonna have to knock that off and die. Sorry, kid. This pain, it's... Oh, I can purify him because he's, I guess, not that far along. Oh, I got his spirit. Cliffside Hamlet youth performs an arced leap and lands with enough force to scatter and damage surrounding enemies. Separated from his mother in the midst of a terrible storm, the boy set off for the White Parish in search of help. He never arrived. Well, ain't that sad. Alright, so can I equip that now? Okay, no, I cannot. I feel like I still have to go more to the right. I'm not sure what to do with that. Anyone excited for Mario? I'm a little bit excited. I'm probably gonna see it in theaters, so that's gonna be a weird experience. Surely it can't be any weirder than seeing the live action Mario was, though. Hold, someone approaches. Something approaches, rather, I should say. Hey, it's the horse. Fucking, or rather it follows. I sense no clear mind. It seems to be drawn by your amulet. Perhaps they were once in service to a white priestess. Is their desire to assist us? You priestesses are a rare breed. Alright, well, what do you want to do for me, horse? What do you fucking want? What are you here for? Hey, fast travel. Okay, I guess the horse is a fast traveler. Well, that's fun. Biggest problem I have with 2D games when they start introducing fast travel and stuff is like I will quickly lose track of where the fuck anything is on this map. But maybe that's fine. We'll see how it gets to be. Alright, so how do I, if I have more than one in the same set, I'm wondering how the buttons are gonna, how the layout works. Okay, it's Y. Oh, that's fun. Limited uses though. Findings, the parish way too. Soldiers of the nation rose to face the blighted, but struggled in vain. In the end, the prayers of the woman in white saved the kingdom. Her words the only thing capable of purifying and stopping the blighted. Revered by the people, this woman came to be known as the White Priestess. I feel like we've learned a lot of only slightly different information in this game so far. What a deep forest, and almost entirely submerged. It's kind of like in Nazca. You remember that part where they went to like the forest under the forest? That was so rad. Oh no, I died. I really gotta watch that health gauge. Enemies be slamming. Maybe I shouldn't go down that way yet. Maybe that was a little too dangerous for my dainty little self. Hey, I noticed it seemed like it kept my map data from the direction I'd gone. That is nice. Wasn't sure, how the save function works. If I lose everything. If I lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. There goes the sound again. So bizarre. Gotta Siegfried it up. Okay. Just for you, I'm about to Siegfried it up. Okay, I guess she kind of just stands there and I don't really need to be a part of the interaction. She didn't do very much damage though. Let's try again and see if there's... Okay, that time we got a little bit more result, but it was not enough to kill the enemy, so I don't know. It's not as convenient right now. I'm sure it'll be great to use against a boss when I'm not trying to like also dodge and shit. Although I don't know, that encounter didn't go that great. So, whoa, whoa. Maybe Siegfried would be useful for this. God damn it. Oh, she does a different move in the air. This music. Definitely feeling some Yuki Kajiura influence here, which I appreciate. This game feels like it was made by somebody with very, very similar tastes to myself. I really want to know how to get up to that. How do I get to that guy? Oh. Oh hey, I've received my first super chat of the night from MNNM with 15 shekels, asking, have you seen the first part of the final season, Jesus, of Attack on Titan? I don't remember if I saw all of it. I know I saw some of it. The first part of the final... So, yeah, because I saw all of Season 4, and I know I saw some... I mean, I was just singing the Rumbling song, which I'm pretty sure is the opening theme of what you are referring to. It's really hard, isn't it, with the names of with the fucking seasons at this point. I'm gonna literally run all the way back to the save point and heal myself because I'm fucking almost dead. Probably need a new ability. This game seems built for backtracking. That's definitely true, but oh, you mean to get up to that one ledge? Yeah, that's probably the case. But yeah, Attack on Titan is I remember that particular half season feeling kind of slow. It had some moments that were badass, but it was surprising because of the fact that I guess because I knew certain spoilers from the manga that I was like expecting us to definitely get to, and because it was like I think it was 16 episodes, right? So it was like extended season, even though it wasn't going to be ending yet. Um, so like they really wanted to fuck with you and make you like ask yourself like, are they gonna somehow cram the rest of the story into just these last episodes? No, they're not. So you know, there are two 12-episode cores and two 45-minute extra long episodes, the first of which came out a month ago. A month ago. Okay, so we're talking about the first part of the final season. I had misread what you wrote. No, I didn't know it was back. I didn't know it was coming out already. Obviously Bird and I are going to have to watch that. So no, I guess I'm behind on Attack on Titan. I think we definitely finished the first part. So yeah, we'll have to get caught up. I am definitely interested in finishing that story. I couldn't imagine like having had to try to keep having had to try to keep up with it the whole time, because I'm a very, very impatient consumer, and like for instance with Bleach, right? Like I caught up with Bleach the manga at one point, and then I think I maybe lasted like a month into trying to like read it weekly, but so little happens in each individual chapter that it was just impossible for me to stay invested over like a large amount of time. Like it's a great story to read all at once, but like to make it a part of your lifestyle, it just feels like a bit much, you know. Like I don't get that much hype out of it every single week that I'm gonna like stay thinking about it fucking, you know, long after having read all of it at once. And I feel that way about most things. If I like catch up on it before it's done, then like I'm not going to be able to keep reading it or watching it every single week. So I've never been good at keeping up with long form stuff. You know, but once it's done, then it's easy enough to just like fucking binge that shit. That said, I still haven't. I'm not really the type to binge one long show as much as I have been the type to binge a whole lot of short shows. But I'm kind of exiting that era now. Not to say that I'm more likely to binge longer shows, but just that, you know, I feel like I've seen enough variety in what, like, there's a better way to put this, and it's not coming into my head right now. This music. I like being in this area because I get to listen to this music. That's how you know a soundtrack is fucking popping. Alright, I've got a super chat here from Blink and You'll Miss It for $10. Thank you. I heard they're making a live-action version of Your Name, and they're replacing all the mystical Shinto bits with Native American lore, thereby making the story take place in America. Thoughts? That sounds like... I mean, it sounds like dangerous ground to tread, unless it's being, like, written by Native American people, I guess. That's an odd decision to make. I'm assuming there's already a Japanese live-action Your Name show or movie. You know, I haven't heard of one, so I could be wrong. It seems really odd to do that as an American live-action film. I mean, conceptually, Your Name is not... So here's the problem with, I think, with adapting a movie like that to live action, and especially to an American live action film, is that like... So to compare it, for instance, to, say, Ghost in the Shell, right? The Ghost in the Shell movie, it got a lot of shit for the fact that Motoko was, like, cast as a white lady, right? Now, I've heard of other reasons that that movie is not good and doesn't really capture the spirit of Ghost in the Shell. But, like, fundamentally, it actually didn't... It wasn't a big deal to me that Motoko was cast as a white lady because she switches bodies. Like, part of the theme of the series is, like, that this character is not connected to her original body anymore. And that is something you could do regardless of the character's race or where they are from, because thematically it could be explored without the character having to be Japanese. In the case of Your Name, there's not really like you can easily do the core narrative concept in another piece of media. But there's already tons of other media that does. It's Freaky Friday, just with a little time travel angle to it. And I'm sure even that's probably been done in another live-action American movie. It's driven by specifically who the characters are and, like, what they sort of... what their lives are like culturally, So I guess if you did the same concept, like, but it's all American, it's just gonna be a different movie with its own characters that has similarities, plot-wise to Your Name, which again already describes other movies that exist. I mean, the exact plot beats of Your Name, if you copied them, probably will still, make people go like, oh. But I don't think that's the appeal of the movie. Like, I think the big plot twists, they're fun, they're memorable, they give you something to walk away from the movie, like, with. But that's not what makes the movie good or entertaining, So, like, if you can't recapture the magic of the first, like, 45 minutes of the movie that's just about the characters' everyday lives, the movie's gonna suck. And I don't think an American film really can do that the same way, because I don't really think there's such thing as, like, a normal life in America, if that makes sense. Like, I think America's a huge country that's very different everywhere inside of it. And while there's certain things that, like, most of us can relate to, there's nowhere near the level of, like, here's what everyday life is in Tokyo, and here's what everyday life is like in a small town in northern, Japan. Like, I just think that that movie had a lot more to say about being Japanese than you could make a movie say about being American while following the same plot line. Especially with all the themes of fate and stuff. I mean, I guess... I don't know what part of Native American lore ties into all of this, but if there's something they can do that makes as much sense, then it could be good, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. Stagnant blight times 10 can be used to enhance skills. Filthy residue shed by a purified blighted. The sorrowful muck is stagnant but glints with a faint light. Allows you to enhance your skills at respites. Neat. I hope I keep that when I die. I haven't really checked if I've been keeping all of the equipment I pick up when I die. I guess I don't have to worry as much about that because I just got a healing item. Can I hit the switch? Can my throwy guy? No, he can't. What about you? Nope. Doesn't look like it. Okay. I guess I'm not going this way yet. But hey, I got some skill upgrades. That's neat. Do I know the channel Tanel Flowers in her animation Pilgrimage Retrospective? I've never heard of any of that. But if you're recommending it, I'll check it out. Tanel Flowers. Seems easy enough to remember. I don't know why I walked right into that attack. Hey, the music came back. I'd almost forgotten it was gone. Jesus. I want that thing. keep dodging the wrong direction. Shit. Will I be watching the new season of Mushoku Tensei? Maybe. Probably not till it's over, if I'm being honest, so I could just marathon it. I mostly watched Mushoku Tensei for the sake of making YouTube video about it. And then that YouTube video, while it has a decent number of views, kept getting taken down by copyright, content ID problems over and over again. So I don't feel a strong inclination to do another YouTube video about that show. But, I thought it was pretty alright. What I have watched recently is Trigun Stampede. Bird and I watched all of that. And I saw the first episode and a half or two, maybe 2.5 of... Oh, god damn it, I already forgot the name of this show. Bird watched the whole thing. I thought it was alright, but... it was the cards. Something card. Wild card? It's like a show where everybody has a playing card that gives them like a, an X-Men superpower type thing. And they're all involved in like a big, silly, gotta kill each other plot. It was, it was cute. The first episode had some really crazy, gory moments, and I was really hoping to see more of that. And then second and third weren't really providing. So I was like, it's a little too generic of a story for me to watch it if it's not going to be like torqued, Would I recommend the new Trigun over the old one? Absolutely not. I think the new one would be a fun way to get yourself interested in the old one, but the new one is only 12 episodes long. It's fun, but it's not very It's not very similar to the old show. It almost poses itself as though it were like a pseudo prequel. It's very weird where the story ends up going, and it is probably going to have, if like it ends on a sequel hook, so like I don't know if they're already planning or already have announced another season or whatever, but it's not over, so I cannot speak to the overall quality of it, but as of what exists right now, I would not say that it was as good as the original Trigun overall. Has its moments, though. Oh, what the fuck is this thing? Big boy. Alright, this seems like a time to break out the... Oh, no! I went right into that. So it's definitely started to feel even more like Dark Souls in that, I've been, at this part for a while. There's a long stretch between save points and not a lot of healing you get to do in the way in between. but also the fact that there's like multiple routes. You know, there's some items I've picked up just on along the way of being stuck at this point. So, you know, I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling the familiar rhythm of play here. To what I've experienced in my Souls time. Oh no. No. Why do I keep dodging left? I really tried to duck under his attack, but that did not work. Maybe that's the strat. It doesn't disrupt their attack though, unfortunately. Toei is doing a new Kinnikuman anime. Trigun Stampede, the new Urusei Yatsura anime, and the new Dragon Quest show. It seems like there's a trend of more faithful readaptations of manga. That does not surprise me. I mean, pretty much globally, I think everybody is clinging to their sure thing intellectual properties. You know, like, I'm sure I've probably mentioned this a couple of times before at this point, but I really stand by that, like, recognizability is one of the most important things you can have, especially as, like, a brand. Like, basically you just want, if you're trying to make money from people, you want them to know about you. You need to have, like, a reputation, you know, for quality and for, you know, providing a certain type of experience that people want. And so, you know, the easiest way to do that is to be like, oh, well, we had a successful intellectual property, let's keep doing it, you know. And so I would bet that with a lot of these adaptations, they probably always knew they could and might do this. You know, like, if you make an anime adaptation knowing that, like, you're not going to be able to do the whole thing because the manga's not over, but that, like, you know, it leaves you with the option to redo the manga sometime later, and if the anime helps the manga to become like a cult classic, it'll give you that much more reason to do so. I would hope at the very least that a lot of these, like, publishers and, you know, companies that fund the anime adaptations had this long game in mind the whole time. You know, they were always adapting these anime with the expectation that they would redo it. Now, having said all of that, I don't know if you've seen Trigun Stampede, but it is by no means a more accurate adaptation of the manga. Now, granted, I haven't read very much of the manga. I read the first 2 volumes, which, as I understand it, is pretty much about where the original anime starts veering off from the story, and it becomes Trigun Maximum, which is way longer. But the first 2 volumes of Trigun, the manga, are not too different from the first, you know, however many episodes of the anime that cover that same span. At least the way I remember it, they were pretty similar. The new anime is more different from either of those. And where it takes the central story, I don't know if the manga goes there, because, again, I didn't make it that far. But this anime, like, the new anime really zeroes in on the relationship of Knives and Vash, and, like, who they are, what Knives is trying to accomplish, and, like, they have, you know, encounters and stuff, like, just way more frequently. So it's a very different feeling series from the original. I almost want to call it Trigun Crybaby, because Vash cries a lot. And, you know, any other reason you draw a Devilman Crybaby comparison based on what I just said. But yeah, I definitely think Fullmetal Alchemist and Hunter x Hunter were like the blueprint. But it's also just a thing, like, because a lot of this is like Madhouse, Mappa doing that stuff, you know, Trigun obviously is them, and I think they just wanted to do that kind of stuff. I know that Masao Maruyama personally was big into like bringing back 90s hard-blooded manga. So like I think part of it is just like, you know, aesthetic preferences of certain producers basically being like, I want to do anime that are like this, so we're gonna bring these ones back so so that we have the opportunity to work with an IP that's like in a style that we want to do, you know. If I ever finished Vinland Saga, no. I have only seen a few episodes of the anime and read like, I want to say 5 volumes of the manga a long time ago. So I'm not too familiar. I'm interested. I'm probably going to watch all of Vinland Saga with Bird at some point because I know he would like it. And, you know, he's not the biggest, like, reader of manga, particularly online. I think if I owned all of Vinland Saga, he would read it, but that's a lot. There's a lot of volumes, and they're not cheap, so, you know, I'm not too keen to buy it. Maybe if it actually came to an end, I would be more inclined. I actually just went to the bookstore for the first time in a while, because I've been trying not to spend money on manga because I own way too much of it. But there's a Books A Million in my town, so I went there, and they had all kinds of new stuff, but especially some really impressive omnibus releases. And the one I want the most is Hellsing, because they've grouped all of Hellsing into 3 big omnibus volumes that are like $50 a piece. A peach. And I think that would be very worth having. I've still never read the whole Hellsing manga. I have seen all of Hellsing Ultimate abridged, and that's the closest thing I am to knowing the whole story of Hellsing, so I think that would be fun to own. Sudden Kill 21 with $15 says, thoughts on YouTube retirement? That announcement mean anything for you, or was it mainly for the audience? Do you consume less media now compared to Digi era? Any creative writing advice? I guess I'll start with the consuming media part. I would say yes, but only because I am not doing it in mass amounts as much anymore, but I still kind of do. I'm a very project-driven person. Like, in general, whatever I do, it tends to be that it's like I'm going to do this one thing for a few days intensively, and that's either going to lead to a complete product, or it's going to lead to me realizing that like whatever I'm doing is just way bigger than I could possibly do, you know. For instance, like this year, I started the year off at work. I was traveling. So like, in the interim, while I was waiting for, you know, the work I knew I was going to have in February, I was kind of, you know, considering whether I wanted to try and do something online that could potentially make money, but that's like a whole thing, you know, like there's not a way for me to just like write a video and then like magically I now have $500, you know, like I know there's an amount of streaming I can do where I'll make money while doing it, and like it's somewhat predictable. Like I could be like, okay, I want to like make sure I make $200 streaming this week. You know, I know I could stream enough to make that amount of money. But with like a video or with a project, it's really unpredictable, like what the results of doing that work are going to be, you know. And with me, even doing stuff that like I think is going to be a sure thing, it's not, So I've long given up on the idea that like there's a definite way that I could make a video that I know is going to like be worth the time and effort. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that I don't live my life on that same like project to project mentality, right? So like in January when I didn't really have any strong YouTube video ideas, but I did want to just basically write about everything I was doing on my Substack. And so in the effort of just like, or also like my Twitter threads, right? So I have a Twitter thread right now for every movie that I've watched in 2023, and it's just like a tweet with 4 screen caps that summarizes my feelings on that movie. But knowing that I have the tweet thread made me want to watch movies more, So I ended up watching and reviewing 18 movies in January, and I, not just on Twitter, but I made a Substack post where I reviewed all of them in like a little bit more depth. But like that is just entirely, the product of like, wouldn't it be fun to have watched a bunch of movies, to have a cool movie thread on Twitter, and to have a, reviewing 18 movies post on Substack. So once February and March rolled around, I'm still keeping up this gimmick of talking about the movies on Twitter and everything. But my work schedule was very different. I didn't have a whole month of basically nothing to do. I had more consistent work, and also I had interest in other projects, where like maybe as a result of a work trip, I come away with something else that I'm interested in that, instead of watching another 18 movies in February for the downtime that I do have, maybe I get interested in a different, playing some video game and writing about it for hours on end. So, like, it's like I always want to live my life in a way that like it feels like I'm working towards something. But I also understand that like not everything that I'm working towards will yield product or is worth continuing to like build on. And so, it's I've gotten a lot more precious, I guess, where like I have a couple of things I've written that, like, based on their length and based on the quality of the writing, I'm sure that there are some people who would be like, oh, I love this video if I just posted it as is, but it's part 1 of like a intended part 7 that will never be or might not ever be, and while I have in the past made plenty of series that have no conclusion, people are still waiting on those conclusions, like it's not as though I've ever been sort of forgiven for starting so many series that never got finished. And so I'm not trying to, like I guess a big part of me retiring is to avoid like my lifestyle affecting the presentation of my content, where I'm like starting these projects, releasing an episode because I have to put out something that week, and then realizing that it's not tenable to continue that project and moving on to something else, but now I'm stuck with this like part 1 of a video series that's never going to be continued, just kind of sitting on my channel. And so I want to avoid that kind of lifestyle where like my art and what I do is so tied to like an exacting schedule and like having to make a certain amount of money each month in order to live, it's leaves me a lot more breathing room to be like, okay, this isn't my job. I don't owe, like, people aren't expecting anything. They're not expecting like a certain amount of videos to come out or anything like that, or a certain type of video, because I've literally said that I'm not doing anything, And so if I do make something, in any kind of context, I won't have to worry about it appealing to my existing audience or if it makes sense to post it on my existing channels or whatever, stuff might have been a concern for me before, or having to get it out within a certain time frame because it's just something I'm doing for the passion of it and not because I have to live. So in that way, having a regular job has been very freeing, especially the job I have. I probably wouldn't have retired. I retired before I had this job, so I'm not going to say I wouldn't have retired. I would have done that anyways. But I wouldn't have been so comfortable to actually let that retirement settle in if not for the fact that I ended up getting a job that was fulfilling in its own way, Alright, I've got other super chats I've got to answer, although I don't know if I answered all of your questions. You also said something about writing advice. Let me scroll up a little bit. Thoughts on retirement, announcement mean anything? Do we consume less media? Okay, yeah, creative writing advice. Mainly, write as much as possible. Like, the more you do it, the more practice you'll get, the better you'll get at it. I definitely under practice. I have aspirations of being a creative writer, but I get stuck. I get hung up on details, and then I'll just kind of put the project to the side for a very long time, and it can get exhausting to keep coming up with new projects and then not getting very far into them, but you just gotta fight through all that. It's mostly about fighting through the pain to continue doing it as much as possible, and then also considering that if you don't like doing it all the time, maybe it's not for you. I enjoy writing almost all the time, but not as much creative writing. Creative writing is difficult. It requires me to find something inside of myself that I don't necessarily understand, and then try to find a way to describe that to other people, and that's hard as compared to taking something that already exists and sharing my thoughts and feelings on it. That's, for me at least, a lot easier. I know there are some people for whom the opposite is true, but I'm pretty good at figuring out why I feel the way I feel about something, if nothing else. I'm usually pretty good at figuring out why other people feel the way they feel about something, and I enjoy trying to figure out how the creator feels about the thing too, Right, maybe it's not a good idea for me to walk myself all the way back, because then I'm going to have to go through all this again. I had unlocked a shortcut, so I kind of was like, maybe I'll go back and save and heal up. But the shortcut was not that short of a cut, if I'm being quite honest. I don't think I can continue this way. I'm not sure if I can continue the other way either, because I don't know what those red dots mean. Alright, it's time to answer the next super chat from Lapucia. Australian $10, thank you. Hi Trixie, rant about Geno Samuel's docuseries on Chris Chan. Is there merit in it, and thoughts about people trying to shut it down because queerphobia? Will really appreciate your perspective on this. I've never really gotten the sense of it being queerphobic in particular. I don't know. I think Geno refers to Chris with she, her pronouns currently. I'm not too terribly concerned about Chris Chan's identity, as Chris has said things like that she identifies as a woman to pick up other women. Then again, how much can I take Chris at her word? I don't know. The difficult thing about Chris Chan and the coverage of Chris Chan is that Chris is not a good person. And I think that's sort of what makes people feel justified in what they're doing. But nobody who's fucking with Chris is a good person either. It's just generally, it's a seedy business all around. To be involved in other people's lives and to mess with them, to document them. I think that Geno Samuel's series is worthwhile because, like, Gino will say things like Chris is the most documented person on the internet, and that's what makes this series possible, is that, like, there is all this information already. It's fascinating to me that nobody had ever made all of that information, like, easily consumable. And, I'm going to go ahead and say I was ahead of the curve on this because I had the idea for the lecture. Because Ben Saint used to always talk about Chris Chan and, like, share all these stories. And I was like, you need to, like, give us, like, because I could never understand what the fuck he was talking about. It would always be, like, just the craziest sounding random shit about Chris lore. And I was like, I cannot comprehend this. What we need to do is, get some desks together and have you do, like, a professor lecture on Chris Chan. So, obviously that exists and is a pretty decent introductory guide, but, like, you cannot just do that even, like, fathom the amount of Chris lore that there is, because the Geno Samuel series is crazy. And I haven't seen all or even, like, most of it. I've watched bits and pieces, mostly while on acid. It's something that we tend to throw on when we're on acid because it's so much to take in, and it's so fascinating, and it's not just Chris as a character who's interesting in the scenario. Like, the bullies are themselves odd people with their own quirks that are interesting to study. So, like, I think the fact that we were all, like, if Geno Samuel, like, had picked Chris at the start of Chris being, like, a lolcow or whatever, if this was, like, a fresh person who had just started existing and just started reacting to people, I think it would be, it would be one thing. But the fact that this has gone on for so long, already been so documented, and I don't think the Geno Samuel series is making it any better or worse. Like, it's not affecting Chris's life any more so, because Chris's life is already completely defined by the internet communication and the constant feeding back into it. And, like, I don't know, that series gave me a lot of perspective on Chris as a person to sort of answer the question, like, okay, well, how self-aware is Chris? How much of this is her fault? How much of it is because she won't stop playing? Take her money. Like, there's plenty of people who, have just been robbing Chris and the government by proxy for years and years, and fucking with her in really bad, unsavory ways, and all that's documented in this series. And then there's the stuff that's just funny, and I think it's easy to lump all that stuff in together if you're, looking at it from the perspective of, like, well, Chris is just going to see this all as, like, one thing, but that's not anyone's fault, I think Chris Chan's unique way of thinking is what makes all of that possible. And it's not the autism. There's plenty of autistic people who aren't Chris Chan. It's just there's layers and layers to that enigma. And that's what makes it so fascinating to everybody. I feel as though, I sort of believe in determinism and destiny, and the idea that, like, you can't help, reality can't help but be the way that it is. It was just going to happen this way. And so with Chris, it's like everything about who Chris is just kind of lent itself to this odd inevitability that like seems unique on paper because, it's like the first thing like that's existed, but like when you look at it all the way Geno Samuel presents it, it seems like, well, yeah, of course this was going to happen, like, of course, if you have all of these elements together, it was going to lead to this. It's like as inevitable as it is paradoxically, um, you know, fucking, I don't know the word I want for what Chris Chan is. Unpredictable, as inevitable as it is unpredictable. I spy a shack over yonder. Let's rest our weary bones. Oh, yes, please. Oh, I can rest in different types of places. Findings. True believers note. After the blighted started to appear in Land's End, many religions quickly began to die out, including the True Way. Seeking hope, many flocked to the White Priestess. It is likely that the way of the White Parish arose from there and spread amongst the people. Alright, I really have to use the bathroom, and then I'll get back and answer this super chat that I just got from MN&M. So I'll BRB, you can just listen to this lovely music for a moment. Alright. I'm back. I was talking about Chris Chan, wasn't I? Also, Lapusha, I cannot answer your question about my job. Can't really talk about it. MN&M with 30 shekels. Thank you, says, I enjoy the Twitter trend of media threads, but I do see it as a bit of an issue that people don't feel justified to consume something without the justification of sharing their opinions on it afterwards. I mean, that's been an issue in my life pretty much, period. It's hard for me. I mean, part of it is that it's honestly hard for me to even remember that I saw something if I don't talk about it in some capacity. If I don't like put it on a list at least, or give it a score, or say mention it somewhere, anywhere. But it's just a good way to encourage yourself to do something, again, if you can make a project out of it. And I really do tend to live my life in project form. Like, I guess I'm fairly single track minded, so it's like if there's something that I'm like making happen, it's just, that's it. That is life for now, like until it's done. It's all I'm really thinking about. It's all I want to spend my time on. So, sometimes that can be really frustrating, again, if I don't really have like a way forward. I'm going to give you an example that is not, because like when I talk about this, when it comes to like anime, making videos, I feel like it's fairly obvious what I'm saying, but like for other aspects of life, right? So recently I had a little money from my last job, so I was looking to buy some personal affects, some clothes, some equipment, some things I need. And so I've been in a bit of a shopping mood, investigating brands, trying to figure out what's good stuff. And Bird needed a new pair of hiking shoes/boots. So we went to the shoe store. I'm sorry that I sound so distracted. I was really like trying not to die because I was almost dead. You asked what's your job, but I just said that I couldn't talk about my job. Anyway, we went to the shoe store, and while we were there, I saw possibly the coolest pair of boots I had ever seen. A steel-toed pair of Caterpillar boots. I don't know if you know the brand Caterpillar, shortened usually to Cat, but they make like all the fucking heavy machinery. You know, all the big trucks and stuff that's used for farming and I don't know, everything. All the big heavy machines they make like all of them. So I see this pair of like black gothy looking boots that say Caterpillar in yellow, and then in a different place just Cat, and like it was like a mind blowing revelation to me. Not only that the brand Cat like makes clothes, but also that all of those clothes say both Cat and Caterpillar on them in like a cool yellow impact font. And I was like, whoa, this shit looks awesome. I really want some Caterpillar stuff now. Shout out real quick to Clovis Beloy with 10 euro, who says, my job is giving super chats. That's the best job you could possibly have. You know, I imagine it feels good every single time. You know, I haven't given a lot of super chats. My housemates, ASE Presents, they give a lot of super chats. And it's always exciting. It's always exciting when I'm like watching stream and I see them come up and I'm like, hey, it's my homies, you know. So, you get immortalized forever. People watching these streams, they probably know some of the names of people who give me super chats just because they get shouted out on every stream, you know. Never really thought about it until just now, but I bet that's part of the incentive. Anyway, I was answering a different question and I got totally sidetracked by that. Media threads. Oh yeah, justification of sharing their opinions. Is that still what I was talking about actually? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good to give yourself any reason to... Oh, I was talking about consuming stuff as a project and about those fucking shoes, right? I was really on those shoes for a while. Well, and it's gonna be relevant, I promise. So I saw these amazing Caterpillar boots. I don't really need boots right now, and they only had them in men's sizes at this particular place. So I was like, alright, I'm going to look into these boots though. So I go to the Caterpillar website, I'm looking into all their boots, and they have this one fucking pair of blue boots with the yellow Caterpillar text on them. They're called excavator boots. And they're just the coolest boots I've ever fucking seen in my whole life. And I want to own them very badly. I do kind of need them for work because they're steel toe. And I have dropped things on my foot doing my job. So it would be nice to have a steel toe for safety purposes. But they are very hard to come by in my size. Size like 10.5, 11. They don't sell them that size on the website. Can't find them from any redistributors, anybody reselling them. I did find a store in LA that seems to have a pair, but this is a boss. I've just stumbled into a random ass boss fight, and he's really hugging the ceiling like an asshole. Damn, what a piece of shit that guy was. Anyways, there's a Caterpillar smartphone you can buy. That's awesome. But yeah, mostly it's just the fact that it says Cat and Caterpillar on their stuff. But anyway, these blue excavator boots are fucking amazing. But the only place that has them seems to be in LA, and in my size, I mean. And getting them here would cost $50 shipping and handling, which is too much, man. It's already a $150 pair of boots, so $200, that's a bit steep. You know, if I had more money, I probably wouldn't hesitate to do it, because I want them so fucking bad. But, investigating how I could get my hands on those shoes, it was all I could bring myself to do for like hours, because I couldn't stop thinking about them. It's just like, I want them, I know they exist, I know I can, like, conceptually I can afford them. I could buy I don't want $200 pair of boots when $50 is shipping and handling, but I would be willing and could buy the $150 pair of blue excavator fucking Caterpillar boots, and I want them a lot. So, you know, for however long I was obsessed with trying to find a pair in my size before I really had exhausted my options and gave up. You know, that's all I was doing. I wasn't thinking about other things. I wasn't doing other things. But that makes those boots incredibly exciting. And they've remained exciting now, right? Because I dedicated so much time and thought to them that I will remember having done that. And should I ever, you know, find myself upon those boots, it will be an epic feeling of victory. It'll be like, holy fucking shit, like, I've been seeking this, you know, I've spent an amount of my life concerned about these fucking boots that I want. You know, having them will be great in and of itself, obviously. You know, I'll have them for hopefully forever. You know, actually owning something you really like is also is even scarier than not owning it, because then you're like, how am I gonna fuck up and damage this thing? Will I consistently love it enough to justify the price, you know? Can I resell it in the future if I'm desperate? All things I think about. Those are two different species. You can't shorten caterpillar to cat. I'm freaking out right now. Yeah, I had never had known that company was called Caterpillar, because I've seen cat on the side of plenty of things. Never realized it was short for just another animal. It is a little bit ridiculous, but yeah, so basically I'm live streaming right now because there's a version of me that would have had $200 to spend on those shoes today, and it wasn't the version of me that I am right now. So you know, we're very close to the end of the month. Hey, Illusion with 1,000 Czech for shipping and handling. Thank you very much. I'm assuming that's something like $15, which is what the shipping and handling costs. Let's find out in dollars. Well, yeah, of course, if you type 1,000 in dollars, then you're not going to get any results that mean anything, are you? CZK. All right. Let's math it out. Yeah, that's 46.34. Thank you very much, Illusion. I might have to. I mean, you said it's for the shipping and handling, so now I probably have to buy those. You know, I could have potentially used those $50 for, like, I don't know, dinner, but instead I'm gonna use them for those fucking boots that I want so goddamn badly. Have you ever loved shoes so much you given on for? Not the expression, no, literally given on for. I've never wanted shoes as much as I want these shoes. You know, like, I've never been a huge shoe person or collector. Mostly because I don't think, like, it's weird to me that there are, like, okay, so a lot of women have a lot of shoes, right? It's sort of a cliche, you know, women will have like a big shoe collection, and I would even say there's plenty of men who have a lot of shoes, you know, like, you might have your tennis shoes, your work shoes, your fucking house shoes, whatever. I can understand and appreciate, at the very least, having like an outdoor shoe and an at-home shoe, maybe even a slip-on versus a tennis shoe, you know? Like right now what I've got going on, my situation, if you will, I wear Hoka's. So some pretty nice running shoes, trail running shoes that I bought like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, something like that. So they've held up really well, but you know they're not something that are easy to just throw and go. I've done some damage to them by not untying the laces all the time, and just throwing, stuffing my feet into these fucking shoes. So, I'm in the mentality that it probably is better to have some kind of Crocs or some kind of throw and goes. But at the same time, I always like to be prepared because I don't know if that trip's going to turn out to be a lot more than it is. So, I've more often regretted, like, because I used to wear, like, Crocs and stuff like that as, like, a secondary, but then I would end up regretting it every time that the adventure got a little bit more serious than I expected, So, I feel like it's a good thing that I'm always wearing the Hoka's, but where I don't want to be wearing them is at work. I don't want them to be getting damaged from, like, stuff falling on them or, just in general, I don't want to be wearing my running shoes at work. So I do think it makes some sense for me to also own a pair of work boots. And that's also something that, like, I wouldn't ordinarily, just because I'm like, again, I want a shoe that's going to just do all of it. Why do I need to have 8 fucking pairs of shoes and then have to, like, if midway through an outing it turns into something else, I've got the wrong fucking shoes. The shoes need to be able to do whatever I'm going to find myself doing while I'm out. But I think that's equally true of the Caterpillar boots. I wouldn't wear them for trail running. I wouldn't wear them for hiking because I have nice hiking shoes. But, if the situation suddenly changed midday, I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck, I can't do this because I'm wearing my steel-toe Caterpillars, Like, more likely, it's going to be like, oh, fuck, thank God I'm wearing the steel-toe Caterpillars for this shit, Stagnant Blight X10. Can be used to enhance skills. Hey, I think I've already gotten some of that before. Yeah, I have. Okay. I just haven't enhanced any skills yet. I probably should do that. Probably should have done that, actually, by now, since I got some of that blight before. But, it's chill. It's whatever. We'll be back at a bench soon, I'm sure. As soon as I've died. Hell yeah, switches. Get the boots. Sean Hanley said, I let both ads play. Glad to see you back. Thank you very much. That's how I'm going to get my hands on these fucking boots. Alright, looking back just to make sure I answered all the things I was talking about before. I guess I did. Current thoughts on my neurotyping chart was a question. It's good work I did back then. It's not something I have put an astronomical amount of thought into over time, if I'm being honest. I think that evolving that is going to take me evolving to a whole nother level of experience as a human, exposure to, psychology and shit. So where I'm sort of at creatively right now, right, is I really struggle with the fact that I am not relatable. That, like, I'm neither relatable nor especially interesting is the problem that I have. Like, it's like my perspective is different enough, and it only ever gets more different. Like, there's not going to be a point where I'm suddenly going to get more normal, because normal is so correlated to, like, a time and place thing, right? Like, normal is, like, relative to the group of people that you interact with, pretty much. And like there's lots of stuff that is normal in the sense that like anywhere you go this thing will be true, but the people who are there aren't going to, like, people don't focus on the stuff that's similar about them. They focus on the stuff that's different, right? So like I could go basically anywhere and feel like I understand people well enough that like it's not going to be anything I could never have expected. But the little details are going to be the things that people really fixate on as like, oh, you're different in this way or this way, and that's, you know, that makes you a stranger, or like that makes you difficult to deal with because you're not what I'm used to, you know. So like having started off without like a strong sense of normalcy to anywhere, you know, like I never lived somewhere long enough to have like a normal relationship to a place, you know. So in that sense I was already kind of lost, but you can still develop a normalcy by like, you know, just like showing up somewhere and being around long enough, I guess. But if you're always trying to collect more perspective and learn more about the world, then you can only ever become like, well, you're only ever going to know more and more stuff that most people wouldn't know, and have more and more, you know, experience and reactions that most people wouldn't have had. And so like, you know, it's only going to become like, on the one hand, I think I get better and better at expressing myself to people in a way that they will understand. But on the other hand, like, the baseline I'm working from of what the way I think things are has become incredibly unique, you know? And so like, if I wanted to establish that kind of baseline of like how we both understand that the world works before I started talking about something, that would be really difficult for me, you know? And I feel like that's a lot of what I it's not that any of that wasn't already true, but that like I used to make a real concerted effort to like, I'm going to try to bring people into my world and my way of thinking. And I could only really go so deep with that before it's like you can't make any money, you know, relating to such a niche, you know, amount even of people. So I think that I understand that like part of my appeal has always been the unrelatable aspect, right? That like most people haven't seen as much media as I have, so they don't have as much perspective on it, or they just don't have as much knowledge or as much time to, you know, indulge in things that they're interested in. So like there's these reasons that I've been able to connect to people partly because my experience is so different. But like it, in order for me to like, I guess when I bring that very different perspective to something familiar, that is when I really pop off, right? Like if I talk about, say, Sword Art Online, or I don't know, it's another really popular anime. We'll just say Log Horizon. Like both, I've had successful series about both of those shows. You know, one I really like, one I really dislike. But it's, you know, it's because those were popular shows that those videos are popular. It's not because I'm a popular person and everyone wants to hear my opinion on everything. You know, there are some people who do, but that diminishes the more, you know, the farther I get from talking about things that other people can connect with and relate to. And obviously this is a problem I've known about my whole career. Like, so, you know, let's talk about restaurants for a second, right? Because I visit a lot of fucking restaurants. If I were to review, if I had a, you know, a channel where I just reviewed restaurants all the time, I think there are people who are like travelers, foodies, whatever, who would like, you know, subscribe and probably check out whichever videos where I talk about something they've been to or a place they plan to go, or maybe they just really like hearing me talk about everything, right? But like, if I just randomly on my channel like reviewed some restaurant I went to in New Mexico, it's not going to make sense to almost anybody. It's not going to mean anything to most people. Like, it's just totally without context. You have to build a world where that type of content can exist before it really makes sense, outside of just like, wanting to hear me talk about any experience I had, which again, there are some people who do. But it's not enough to make that like a career, So like, where I'm at now is like, okay, I can't individually like review every restaurant that I go to just because that's something I'm like passionate about and like doing. But if I've been to enough of them, let's say that I had like, gained an understanding of restaurant culture that allowed me to write something more broadly about like the experience of going to those places that maybe would inspire somebody to, develop a relationship with them like I have, that would endear them to the idea of something like a restaurant review or, fucking, there's a video, oh god damn it, her name's Hazel, just made a video about, the best anime Denny's, and it's like, obviously, Denny's is one of the most common restaurants, like, not only in America, but, like, in a bunch of other countries. So, it is another, it's relatable in that, like, most of you probably know what a Denny's is. But also personal in that, like, Hazel has experience with Denny's and was talking about it because, like, it's like, hey, I know the menu and I know anime. We can bring these two things together. Like, that's the kind of intersection that like worldliness and media savviness together allows for. And so like I have a massive amount of media savviness, chintzy amount of worldliness, but it's expanding all the time. And so like what I'm basically trying to say with this ramble I'm on is that I'm just trying to grind life experience until I can be more interesting. Like I feel like everything that was interesting about me, I was able to express and it was resonated with, but the well kind of ran dry at a point when, in order for me to stay interesting, I would have to have more experiences. And I didn't have a good enough balance throughout my life of like experiencing things and, and creating content out of those experiences. So I was too focused on creating too much content. So that's the kind of balance I want to find if I come back to doing content as a thing I do for money. Jason Secord with Australian $2.99 said, "Did you see Lost by LP and thoughts?" Was that the Linkin Park song? Is that what you mean by LP? Because LP can mean a lot of things, but I think they had a song. I do remember that. They've released a couple of songs now, actually. From like this upcoming, I guess they're gonna, like, Meteora's got a anniversary coming up, and they're like doing a re-release that's gonna have a bunch of unreleased songs on it. I'm trying to find fucking information about this, god damn it. Yeah, here we go. Lost and Fighting Myself. Lost was pretty good. It was like I understood right away why it wasn't on the album, because it's like more of like a 80s synth, like new wave vibe that I don't think would have fit necessarily. And also like lyrically I think it was pretty similar to, I want to say, some Breaking the Habit. I just remember listening to it and thinking like, this simultaneously sounds nothing like any other songs on the album, but also like subject matter wise too similar. So I guess that's probably why it didn't make it on. But it was a good song. Like I felt like if it had been, it was a weird transportational feeling, because it made me feel like if this song had existed since 2004, it would be as nostalgic to me, as beloved to me as any of the songs on Meteora. And that was when I really knew, like, it was like a reaffirming feeling of like, oh yeah, Linkin Park really is as dope as I like think they are, because even if this song, that it was recorded back then during the same session as all the other stuff that I like, and it sounds as good as that stuff, and I can recognize that without any of the nostalgia that I would have had. Felt weird hearing a new song from Chester, that wasn't just like a new Linkin Park song, but a new old Linkin Park song, not like One More Light, which I'm fine with, but it's like, what the fuck? I just got a new Meteora song. How did this happen? That's a weird trick of time. And I have to assume that, in their vault there are fucking dozens and dozens of, at least partially finished, if not completely finished, songs that, just didn't make their projects that they could do something with if they so choose. Because, oh my god, those guys really fuck you up. I guess with what I was saying before about the difficulties of really finding like a marketplace to talk about something like it's also more that every subject has a multitude of different ways that it makes sense for them to be tackled in, right? So like and there have been plenty of different styles of, for instance, anime analysis. Like, plenty of people have done videos that are more focused on like the entertainment value of their presentation. Some that that interweave. I mean, I've done a ton of different styles of, just looking through my catalog, you can find a lot of different ways that this stuff can be done. For me, it's always been about finding, like, I've never really had a clear set formula for how I do things. Most of the time, I have a formula for how I go about creating things, which is to say, like, I create a script, then I edit the video, or do the audio, then I do the video. That's always been pretty consistent, but in terms of like what the product is going to look like in the end, that has always shifted pretty heavily depending on what the subject matter is. And I'm at a point now where I guess it's easy for me to second guess the existing structures of how things have been done, including by me, because I've just seen so many different ways that you can orchestrate like content, and I'm somewhat skeptical of like the way that I've presented my own analysis over time, that like there must be a better way. Like I feel that way all the time, like, and it's mostly about rewatchability with me, where like I think a lot of my videos, when I go back and watch them, they're like a little too wordy, they're a little too if you had to ask me what a perfect video from me is, it would be stop telling people you're a piece of shit. Like, the point that I make is memorable enough that you don't really have to rewatch the video, but if you do, it's really entertaining, it's really to the point. It's something that you need to hear more than once, so it makes sense for it to be like a consumable piece of content, like And I'll say some like similarly. Say let's say my Sword Art Online review, the original one of the first show, right? It's like almost exactly an hour long, and the point of it at the time was to be just like comically the most I've ever written about a show. Like I had not written anything nearly that long yet. So like it was partly like to be funny that it's as long as it is, but content wise it probably didn't need to be an hour long. And there's like a couple of little segments that I'm like, this part, this complaint doesn't really matter. This just makes the video a little bit too long. So I don't think it's a perfect video. But it is overall good. It is rewatchable. I have re-listened to it plenty of times, over the years. Not any time recently, but I know I could. I know I could listen to the whole thing and it would still be like a good time. In spite of however many flaws the video has. I have a lot of videos that I just would, like, they make a good point, but I don't find them rewatchable. They're not something that, like, captivates me to come back to, and that's, like, a big deal for me because, over time, I'm prone to basically remember, like, I'm either going to remember a piece of work as like something I've watched a bunch and it's still good, or as something that isn't good enough to be worth watching again. Like those are like the two main categories of content. Is either like, yeah, that's good enough that I return to it every couple of years to remind myself and see if it still is, see if I can still gain more from it. Sometimes you consume something every few years and eventually you get tired of it. Eventually you're like, you know what? This isn't all... I kind of felt that way about Bakano. It's sad to say. That was like one of my top, favorite anime for a while. But the last time I watched it, I was just kind of like, yeah, I feel like I've gotten everything I'm ever going to get out of this. And it's only going to impress me less from now on. I'm only going to think about what could have been taken out. Because... it's only 13 episodes, but there's a lot of fluff in there. Bakano didn't really need to be as long as it was, if we're being totally honest. And it doesn't hold up the best. So, sometimes you get sick of something, and sometimes you watch it again, and every single time you're like, God damn. I thought this was just okay, but actually, it's kind of baller. Trying to think of a really good example of that. I feel like there's something I just recently like rewatched and was like really surprised and impressed with it. You know what? One that I had some fun with. I rewatched the first episode of Hare and Goo the other day with Bird, and that was like a Shade, my brother Shade, like his first favorite anime, when he was like 10 or so, probably. So it used to air on the Funimation network. And I remember I always thought it was really cute and like conceptually wanted to like it, but the sense of humor had never really gelled with me or connected with me. But rewatching the first episode, it was not only just like a nice nostalgic feeling, but I felt like I got it a little bit more. I just felt like I got the groove of the humor a little better. And I'm sure I'd seen that episode like a few times, so it was interesting to watch it and be like, you know what? This is better than I remember thinking it was when I saw it as a kid. So that's always a nice feeling. Amulet fragment, max HP plus 5. Part of an amulet worn by a white priestess. The tiny shattered fragment still glows with a faint light. Okay, so map-wise, I have been that way, but not... Looks like there's a few other doors in this area. The map is I haven't like spent a lot of time to really understand it yet. There's always like some red dots, and I'm not sure if those are door indicators or what. Oh shit. Oh, damn, that guy really fucking hit me for like 45%. Akihabara is great for the physically and metaphorically underground doujinshi stores. Yeah, I would love to see that. That sounds like the main reason to go there. I already been this way. I don't know why I keep going this way. Let's have a look at that map for a second. Okay, so I've basically just been ascending. There's a few ways I could go back to, but forward seems more interesting for now. Damn it. Music went away again. Big sad. Damn. I really gotta stop letting myself get hit with that attack at all. Shit really fucks you up. Gotcha. I guess I didn't really need to go through this building again because it was just to open that switch. I have a tendency to kind of just play sort of mindlessly, you know, assuming that I will find my way. And then I'll have moments where I stop and I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell have I done? Like, what have I been doing for the last 5 minutes? This is a crazy room. This is the first encounter that's really made me like have to stop for a second and be like, oh boy, how am I gonna deal with this? God damn it. So many fucking projectiles. Simply do not take damage, then victory will be assured. Yeah. Like Isaiah said, don't get hit. God damn it. Don't do that exact thing I did just now. I really want to know how to open those stupid eyeball gate things. This screen feels like the first real like test in the game of like, alright, have you figured out these mechanics and what you're supposed to be doing here yet? Alright. Now just these fucking crows. I've dealt with a lot of obnoxious video game crows, but they don't usually also fucking throw projectiles at you. Granted, them stopping to throw the projectile is probably the most forgiving part of their whole way of doing shit. This is also the first time the level design has been like kind of memorable. That was probably my biggest complaint so far with this game, is that just there's not a lot of like eureka moments of, oh wow, that was really cool what I just did, you know. But beating all those enemies in that room was kind of neat. God damn it, but then I immediately got fucking... I immediately ran right into that fire breath or whatever, acid breath. I don't remember who Isaiah is. He was it's an old Super Smash Bros. Melee meme. One of the first Smash gods is a guy called Isaiah who When asked for his advice on how to win in Smash, just simply said, "Don't get hit." Everyone was like, "Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, you're not wrong." Nobody can dispute that one. Floor eyeball attack can be opened with a down stab later on. Good to know. Figured it was a move I didn't have yet. But always good to be prepared. Fucking A. That was a poorly timed dodge I did there. Okay, well, pretty low on health, might as well run back. You know, I'm glad I've never claimed to be very good at video games. We're really getting into the strats right now. Stupid acid residue. There we go. Alright. We did it, gang. These guys, though, are not to be trifled with. I also gotta remember I have, like, other attacks. I have a real tendency with video games, like, I just like smacking stuff with my sword. So if there's, like, you know, like a simple, satisfying combo, I will tend to forget that there's anything else I can do. That's why in Dark Souls I always tend to just use, like, the biggest sword possible, you know, maxed out strength, and just whack stuff with a fully upgraded weapon, because it doesn't take much thought, you know. I don't have to, like, remember all the stuff I can do. Ah, I forgot about the cooldown. Let's take a leisurely swim. Uh-oh. This is supposed to be a leisurely swim. I demand leisure. Whoa, dog. Alright. Gang, we're doing it. We're gaming. Uh-oh. I'm fucked. Oh, damn it. It's time to fucking enhance. Something I probably should have done quite some time ago. How much enhance can I do? Oh, I can only do one. Okay. Alright. So for this I have to have an ancient soul. Let's go ahead and upgrade them all, why not? Okay. Alright. See if that helps me at all. Yo, Trixie, what up, pal? Nothing, homie. I'm just chilling. Fucking playing this cool game. Answering super chats. You know, we went over this earlier, but thanks to the generous donations of my super chatters, I can possibly afford this very nice pair of Caterpillar boots that I really want. More than I've ever wanted a piece of apparel or clothing in my entire life. Maybe that's not true. I can't really remember, though, another one. Sometimes I'll say things like that and then I'll remember I'm like old. That surely at some point something must have happened to me other than this present moment I'm experiencing now. You know, I've gotten to level 20, but I don't feel like I've gotten much stronger. I don't know if I've just got, like, better health. I don't know why I keep clearing out that room full of enemies that I don't need to. Okay, well, that was a lot of mistakes. Fuck it, we're going back. How do they make boots out of caterpillars? You know, with string. No, it's the brand Caterpillar, as in, like, they make all the heavy machinery. Have I seen Basketball? I have seen that. It was a very long time ago, but I have seen Basketball. Remember it being okay. I want that treasure chased. I really feel sad when the music disappears, especially when it's my favorite song from the game. I have not seen nor heard of Battlefield Baseball, no. You think Mint Salad should review it? I mean, there's a real easy way to get that to happen if you got a little money. Because she does requests through patreon.com/ASC Presents. God damn it, I walked right into that. It's such a Dark Souls attack, too. You'd think I'd be well prepared for that. Alright, where was I even trying to go? The problem with this map is that sometimes there's, like, doors that are a red gloop on the ground, and I'm like, is that the door that you're talking about? Like, okay, let's go back to the previous screen and try to figure out how we get down to that red dot below. I'm assuming you go through like a house door or something. Yeah, it seems like this leads to that room. Oh, I guess I've already been in that room because of a different room? Man. It's not, the map doesn't make it that much easier. Especially because it doesn't show where you are in the room. Like, it just shows a dot in the room that indicates you. Whatever, I guess I'll just continue right. If I can. Wish the music would come back. When I don't have a super chat to read and respond to and there's no music, I just feel like I'm just super alone. God damn it. My loneliness is killing me. I'm not even sure what got me that time, actually. Damn it. I gotta stop fucking up. I was really afraid that I would start playing this game, immediately realize that it's like deeply difficult, and then just like struggle at the beginning for hours on end, which is kind of happening, but it's not as hard as I feared. It's not Momodora Under the Moonlight, which I couldn't even get this far in. Reverie Under the Moonlight, I mean. Momodora is too hard for me. Hollow Knight is too hard for me. This is a little easier than Hollow Knight. It's easier than Wings of V or Castle in the Darkness. Those are all games that have very similar sort of vibes to this. I've never played Salt and Sanctuary. I know that's also like this kind of gameplay style. So I would say it you know, it resonates with me a little bit more aesthetically and gameplay wise than a lot of those games. The level design is a little bit boring, especially as I do this over and over again, and it's just kind of like, yeah, alright, you know, it's not the most exciting thing I've done in a video game. Momodora, yeah, that it's I mean, it's sort of like this. You're a cute girl, side scrolling, dodge, attack. You know, it's just harder. But it's definitely this style of gameplay. I don't know which game is like better, you know? It's hard for me to say on like a technical level or like on a, like, if I was very skilled at both games, I have a suspicion that Momodora would at least start off better because it's more fluid than this. You know, it's a bit more fluid, a bit more like precise. This is like, I wouldn't call it floaty because then I wouldn't be playing it, but like, you know, it's not necessarily asking me to do anything like ridiculous. I just am not very good. But I've played enough games that are like in this style that it's definitely, it's having trouble impressing me, you know? Like, it's having trouble convincing me that it's like different enough from Momodora or from Castle in the Darkness to, like, you know, to have its own identity, I guess, as a game. I guess I would say it doesn't quite feel unique enough to justify itself completely yet. But what is there is strong enough that, like, you know, it's not like, oh, this, I regret playing this or anything. Like, it looks cool, it sounds cool, it's fun, it's challenging. But is it as much fun as, say, what's it called? Muramasa the Demon Blade. That's another game that's very similar to this, especially with the way you kind of like halt in midair while you're attacking, you know? There were lots of things that I found obnoxious about that game too. Don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect game. It was prettier than this game. But it's also, it kind of had like the aesthetic was a little all over the place. This one has a very well considered aesthetic. It's just not that exciting comparatively, or like ridiculously detailed. But you know, not that I need to be comparing all these games. There's no real reason to. I'm just saying. I'm just explaining why this isn't like blowing my fucking mind or anything like that. You know, it's fun. But it's not that unique. And if you want to see what I mean, I do recommend, like, look up Momodora, or I feel like there's an fuck, I can't remember the name of it. I've just played a lot of side-scrolling Metroidvania and hack and slash type games, so don't know why I went through those enemies more than once. Okay, so this is where I've been having trouble, I guess. I really would like these crows to stop spitting fire at me. Damn it. No, I don't believe I can stab downwards yet. I can do... Yeah, I don't have a downward stab. I'm testing out the bird. He doesn't seem very helpful though. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, that wasn't my most well thought out approach to that. It might be a little too late in the morning for me to be able to really perform in this game. This is really what I was afraid of. I don't know if I'd rather change games or just go to bed. Wake up, stream later or something. God damn it. I just want to live. What happened there? I healed and nothing happened. We all saw that, right? How's touring the country been going? It's swell. It's quite swell. You know, the last trip I was on took me all the way across California from San Jose to San Diego, and that was a lot of fun. The best thing about being in California is the birria. And you'll hear, I'm sure you will hear more about birria from me as life goes on, but it's a slow cooked, marinated beef. You cook in like an adobo stew, and it's ridiculously good. And I really hope that the rest of America catches on to birria soon. I hope it becomes like a food trend. Because you can only get it really in places with a lot of Mexican food, such as California and Texas. I don't think most of America has caught on to it at all yet. Alright, I've made it to a screen I haven't been to yet. Holy shit. That guy's really begging me to come fucking take his soul joints. There we go. Stagnant blight. Why do I keep trying to duck under like a basic attack from those guys? Ooh. Chain of Sorcery grants an addition. Oh, it's tough, but it's fun. Again, the level design leaves a little bit to be desired. The narrative so far is mostly just disjointed, sort of repetitive details about these white priestesses. It's hard to have much of a sense for anything about the world other than like there's a real bad blight. But you know, again, it's easier than a lot of these games in this genre are, and that is making it easier for me to get through than it would be if I was trying to play Momodora. Okay, so relics are a whole different thing from spirits, but I don't think I have any relics. Doesn't seem like it. Alright, let's enhance. Still can't enhance my most basic attack, but we can enhance the Guardian Sigurd. Alright. I really liked Baby Stabber and was wondering, will you be releasing anything else like that in the future? I'm sure I will someday. Don't have any plans for anything right now. You know, after I wrote Baby Stabber, I did immediately start on a sort of spiritual follow-up, but I wrote a couple chapters of it and just didn't think it had the same magic. But maybe I'll finish that sometime. That one was called Whale Eater, I believe. And it's a kaiju, a short kaiju fiction that's not too dissimilar from Baby Stabber in format. This guy's got a lot of health. I should probably be throwing some of these at him. Oh, you son of a bitch. Everything about the way this guy moves strikes me as incredibly Dark Souls. Actually, that bird power seemed like it was kind of helpful, because he just keeps shooting at the guy. So I can't use bird at the same time as a power that's not on the same wheel as it. But that doesn't seem to be a bad thing for this fight. I guess I'm only now realizing that like I really don't have to rely on having like a normal attack all that seriously. Because again, movement and attacking are kind of two different things. Have I ever played Final Fantasy XIV? I have not. Heard a lot of good things about it. But, video games that are like a whole lifestyle are very foreboding to me. It's a lot of time, you know, time and energy commitment to something that, you know, if Bird was as interested in it as I was, and we both were like, oh, let's get into an MMO, then I could see doing it. But we haven't. He's a big Overwatch 2 player, you know, so he hasn't really been interested in leaving that game behind anytime soon, particularly for an MMO. But I always hear that Final Fantasy XIV has really sick lore. And that intrigues me, especially when it comes to bringing Bird into a game, because he's a big lore person. Oh, fuck. I didn't see that coming somehow. Fuck. Oh, I'm out of that attack. I forgot you can run out. Okay, well that's an important factor to remember in this. Shit. Competitive or just for fun? I mean, he doesn't like watch competitive Overwatch, but he definitely plays ranked battles. Just keep throwing low-level enemies at the boss. Hey. Oh, man, I wish I had realized I couldn't hurt him at that exact moment. Shit. damn it. I keep fucking forgetting to dodge that. Fuck. Shit. Uh-oh. I don't like the look of that. Oh, great. He's gonna just get faster now, isn't he? Fuck. You're right, the jump does kind of remind me of Limbo a little bit. Cuter, though. I'm gonna try to do this without relying on gimmicks as much, since you cannot kill this guy using all of the amount of the other 3 attacks you have. The sword doesn't do bad damage. It's just that you have to get in close to really deal with him while you use it. But I've pretty much gotten used to his attack pattern, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. You little fuckboy. Oh. I really thought he was going to do that. Shit. Shit. Damn, the way the music changes up and everything there too. Gets into some fucking wild ass like Mass Effect music all of a sudden. Oh man. Let's see what's below this bridge. I can't swim. I want to be able to swim like dolphins can swim. Just enjoying the pleasant music. How y'all doing, chat? You've gone awful quiet on me. Is everybody still there? We still enjoying us some, whatever the fuck this game is called? Limbo is another game? Yeah. It's a little bit of an older indie game at this point. How late is it for me? It is 6:47 in the morning. So, very late. Nope, I'm not fighting all you motherfuckers. Not happening today. Nope, nope, nobody's spoiling my birthday today. It's not my birthday. Just in case that is confusing for anybody. Alright. I made it back here. Why did I come back here? I don't really know. I'm just kind of running backwards. See if there's anything I missed earlier that I could probably do now. I don't know what the difference is between the gold rooms and the blue rooms. I don't know if a gold room means like you did do or didn't do everything in this place or something. To the question about how Bird and I met, I'm sure we probably did explain it somewhere else. It's a little too complicated for me to get into. But basically he moved into my house. And I met him that way. And I liked the cut of his jib right away. Oh, there's a big treasure chest in here. So this is where I fought a boss. So this room was just a boss room, I guess. The fact that it's like some screens are orange makes me think that I got everything on those screens and then haven't on the ones that are still blue. That would be my theory. But I have no way of confirming it, really. Toxic water. That's no good. It tells you when you open the map. Oh. Oh yeah, you're right. It does literally say that. Well, you know, I'd have to read to know that. And everybody knows I don't read. So oh boy. I just want to know how to get to that treasure chest. I'm assuming that later I get some kind of triple jump or something, as there's been a few times I couldn't quite reach something. How the fuck do I get off this goddamn screen? I guess I kind of want to get all the way back to, I mean, hell, the very start there's rooms that I didn't complete. I just want to go back and see if there's anything, you know, I could have done. I know there was at least one path that I just thought the enemies were a little harder and I didn't go that way, but I'm sure I could do it now. Nice. It's really fun that you can like attack, dodge in midair. Oh yeah, there is fast travel. I totally forgot about that, even though I was sitting at the bench that lets you do the fast travel. I'm just so used to having to backtrack across a whole game for playing Metroid. I just, I didn't beat it yet, but I played through most of Metroid Prime Remastered, just, a couple weeks ago. And so I've gotten used to ridiculous, just absolutely insane backtracking that game makes you do. So yeah, I shouldn't even say that game makes you do the ridiculous, insane backtracking that I inevitably do when I get lost, and then run across the whole world a couple times. But yeah, we're gonna take advantage of the fast travel. Hey, Mike Hunt is here with Australian $10. Says, I went to a maid cafe with my girlfriend, who is real, in Tokyo, made it as far as the entrance and left. The something-year-old businessmen customers seemed odd. The Owl Cafe was cool, though. Yeah, I do think the types of people who would spend a lot of time in a maid cafe are probably odd. That's probably true. It is funny, I've never gone to a place where the clientele just seemed so strange that I didn't want to be there anymore. That must be an interesting feeling. Alright, so the few rooms that are over here I have completed, but it also looks like there's a way to go on this next screen that I haven't gone yet, so I'm curious about that. Didn't see that guy spawning there. So an owl cafe, I'm assuming that's a cafe where you get to like hang out with owls. And that does sound dope. The maids seemed young. They probably are. I would assume they probably hired deliberately young girls to be the maids. You're talking about a place that exists, it exists to make anime real. That's the goal. That's what they're trying to do for you as a customer experience. So, it's going to be like anime. Locked. Okay, so we know that door is locked. I didn't see what the other door was in this room that I was just in. I'm going to look a little closer. And yeah, Cafe with Owls sounds pretty sick. Sounds pretty awesome. Maybe there's like a way I'm going to come down through this ceiling sometime later. Because that looks like what would make sense with the map placement. Yeah, there's nothing there. Didn't seem to be a door there, so I guess that was a red herring. At least they don't respawn all the enemies every time you leave a screen like in Castlevania. Though it does just kind of leave me running through an empty corridor if I go way off track like this. your comment on how in Japan gambling is illegal but pachinko is everywhere. It's funny because in America, I do believe gambling is technically illegal in most states, but it's like, aside from the lottery, now like gas stations have gambling. So there's like machines set up everywhere, all over the place in America. And then there's also the fact that you can gamble on Indian reservations, and there's lots of those all around America. But then I also just see casinos like in states where I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can't gamble here, but they've got casinos, so all right. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot more gambling than there's like supposed to be. Question mark? How are they getting away with it? Okay, so there wasn't really an obvious way to continue on this screen either. I suspect again that it was that way up. Oh, I've got a relic now though. Hey, my maximum HP has been slightly increased. Ain't that nice? So, okay, these are all the actions I have. Don't have any new spirits. Can I enhance my spirits? No. Let's see where we want to go next. I guess here, and we'll get whatever was in that room that I didn't get. Certain Native Americans are technically allowed to open casinos even in states where it's supposed to be illegal because of certain rights. Well, that makes sense. Gamble, gamble, gamble. My favorite gambling is those machines with the quarters in them where you have to try to make the quarters fall. Those are pretty entertaining. Actually, my favorite gambling is stocks. I recently put some of my money into stocks. It's really fun to watch the numbers go. Which stocks did I buy? I don't know if I'm allowed to... Am I allowed to say? I don't know the rules with stocks. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about your stocks. I also don't know if it's a good idea to talk about your stocks. I don't really know how that... I'm new to this whole stock game, so I don't really know... I don't know the protocols just yet. But I will say that the stocks that I have so far have been overall successful. It's only been like 3 or 4 days, but it feels like I've made some solid choices. Oh my god, the music came back. Another room where it seems like the last item or whatever I need is up there. Just up out of reach. I will say as Metroidvania goes, as like that the theory of the level design goes, like optimally I want to feel like, oh man, I can't wait to come back here when I have like whatever power. Um I kind of feel that, but I also kind of feel like annoyed at like, oh man, I'm gonna have to come back here again. Like I have to take note of this. I guess the map takes some of that load off because of the fact that like it actually tells you if you have or haven't completed the room, and you can fast travel, and that takes a lot of it away. Like a lot of the annoyance I would feel at having to go back all over the place and remember everything is helped by those two factors. Um, but there haven't been moments where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to know what's over there. It doesn't have that, like in the Souls games. You see like the skybox in the distance. You're like, oh my god, what's that gonna be? And in Metroid, it'll be more like you see an enticing item in a spot you can't get to yet, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get that item. Which this game has like the upgrade material that'll be laying around sometimes in a place you can't get to yet, or a treasure chest. Those are a little bit more exciting. But there's been a lot of places where it's just like, well, there's another path that you'll be able to access later, and I'm like, okay, but where does it go? And like, should I be excited about that? It just seems like you're telling me that the levels are gonna loop in and stuff. There's also just not like a strong sense of place, where like in Castlevania you're in Dracula's castle, and sure, that might mean a lot of different things, but you always have this like pervasive sense of like, I'm in the fucking castle. I would say this game could use like stronger world building and world design to give it more of that like oomph. There's a lot of sameness in the, like, even though like when I went back to all those screens just now, I realized that I had been to more places than I had thought. Like, it had been more varied than I had realized based on like just barely kind of paying attention to the backgrounds while I'm running through over and over again fighting the enemies. I noticed that in the chat you were talking about muscle training or something, and I have no idea how the subject got to that. On stocks, it sounds like you're thinking of insider trading or non-disclosure agreements. Yeah, I guess that's probably what I'm concerned about. I just know that Martha Stewart went to prison for a really long time, or something, or a really short time actually, not a really long time. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just know I got me some stanks. Game hard. Oh, MedX shares, muscle machines. I'm kind of avoidant of anything in the medical sector. So my stock portfolio, it's not terribly diverse yet because I don't have a lot of money. So I've been able to put into a few stocks, as many as 5. But I've been very, very methodical about what I'm willing to pick. I tend to look for either stuff that I know is good because I use it, or I should say, and also that like I understand how it makes its money and like why I think it would be good in the future, right? Like here's so I don't own this stock yet, but a stock I would really love to own is in Lowe's, the the hardware store. Not only because apparently it's just done very well for a very long time, but like everywhere you go there's a Lowe's and a Home Depot, and they're both stocks that do really well. And in America, they're by far the most consistent hardware stores, and generally people don't have like a problem with them because like most home improvement stuff, there's I guess there's just there's not an enormous range of like stuff that you would need right away that like how do I put it? There's not like a need for more stores like those to exist in lots of places. Like they're fine. They're doing their job just fine. It's different from like a Walmart where it's like everything you get from Walmart, you know, you're gonna have to replace before too very long. You know, it's like all temporary solutions or replaceable with itself. You know, I don't think Home Depot or Lowe's is quite at that level. I think because of the fact that most, at least in my work, it's sort of like if you need something from one of those places, it's always convenient that you can just bomb in because they're like everywhere, you know. So that's a case of like I want this stock not only because I shop at these stores, but I also like don't see any reason they would start losing money / not just gain even more. You know, like I could see the growth potential there. Not all businesses are born to grow forever. In fact, most of them probably aren't. It's funny what you can buy stock in. Hey, this is the thumbnail. I made it to the thumbnail. Everybody look, I made it to the thumbnail. You all saw this on the way in. Coven Handbook. The Coven is a place for sorcerers who seek deeper knowledge of magic and the abyss. We help the jointly established White Parish and aid in blighted eradication when needed. You must meet the approval of multiple sorcerers to join. Researching forbidden arts such as the magic of the ancients, wielding a weapon in the tower, and leaking intel to other nations are prohibited. Well, that's a lot of fucking stuff. A lot of world building tidbits in that little thing. Hey, I made it to the thumbnail, everybody. Yeah, there's no bread getting moldy at Lowe's. Nails may get rusty, but remover is on the next aisle over. That is a funny way to put it. Well, I'm a little tired, and it's 7 a.m. So I think I'm gonna end this stream, and I'm gonna maybe pick it up later in the afternoon or something. Whenever I wake up. So thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks everybody who's watched tonight. And join me again tomorrow if you're interested. I may continue playing this game because I like it. Hopefully I will. We'll stick with